Um, let's jump in. So, Nazar, maybe we'll put you on the spot for client updates. I don't know that unless Mikhail, if you're able to speak to Teku, um, yeah, we might just be limited on client feedback today.
I don't have anything from Deco side this time.
Nazar, did you have any updates?
Yeah, from the Lodestar side, I started working on the implementation. I shared my earlier draft PR in our last breakout call. So last week I was working on implementing the spec test and found one edge case which was not aligned properly for some attestation. So I guess Mikhail has fixed this test and I run them in the morning and they're all passing on my implementation now. So my next step is that I'm gonna fine tune some of the implementation, add some logging, and then I will deploy it to some of our staging environments where we can collect some more stats on performance or other things. That's all from me.
That's great. Thank you. Any other client updates? Mikhail, I know that you had some updates, changes to the spec or proposed changes to the spec that you wanted to go through. Would now be a good
Yeah,
time to do that?
sure. Yeah. First of all, thanks everyone for the feedback to the spec. Got a lot of conversation on GitHub. It's great. Yeah. So, and there are three things I would like to kind of go over today. Let's just three changes to the spec. Let's just go with them one by one. So this is the first one. I opened up PRs to actually the branch from which the PR to the main spec is opened. Just to like track these changes and have a venue for discussions around each of them. So this first one is actually the fix of one of by one errors in the spec. So the problem is that in the existing spec, we update the variables at every slot start, and at the last slot of an epoch, we update our current epoch observed justify checkpoint. So that we use to confirm a block. And the problem is that at the start of a slot, we updated this checkpoint, and then in this same slot, when we call the confirmation rule, we use this checkpoint, this updated one, while we must use, in this case, we must use the previous one. So basically, this is the problem. And the fix is simply to add a new variable to the store to keep the greatest unrealized at the start of the last slot of the previous epoch. And this is what this variable is used for. And then do the actual switch of this current epoch observed justify checkpoint and the previous epoch observed justify checkpoint at the start of an epoch, of the current epoch. So that's basically it. What we need to do for this is to update tests, because tests are designed in a way that we also have variable tests. We probably, this change affects some other tests as well. So they are designed in a way that this current epoch observed justify checkpoint is updated at the last slot of the previous epoch, not at the first slot of the current one. So that's simply the fix. We plan to update tests soon, likely this week. I think this one is kind of like doesn't need much to discuss. Just be aware of that this fix is coming to the spec, or if anyone has a more elegant way of fixing this, please suggest on the GitHub, like more elegant without introducing like yet another variable to the store. Right. Moving to the next one. The next one is this proposal is from the conversation with Ethan on GitHub. It's actually like it outlines the way. Yeah. So the main point regarding this is basically when this PR is about is when we call the fast confirmation rule. It was in original design, we call it every start of a slot when the attestations from the previous slot are applied. But then in the Ethan made a point that client implementations do not run the fork choice function before the block in the current slot arrives or before the attestation deadline, if the block does not arrive in time. And since the fast confirmation rule has the head as one of the inputs to the algorithm run, it makes, if we run the fast confirmation rule at the start of a slot, the implementation will have to do a redundant call to the fork choice and call the fork choice function, and then do it once again when the block arrives. Eden was just basically proposing or asking whether we could call the algorithm after the block in the current slot arrives or at the attestation deadline. We had a quick conversation from the research standpoint of view, and it seems like it's fine to do, and also it fixes one of the potential problems, like one of the edge cases where the greatest unrealized checkpoint can be updated at the last slot of an epoch. So if we run the algorithm and we update variables, fast confirmation variables after the block arrives in the last slot, it could potentially be better because we're in a very edge case, in some edge case where this last block updates the greatest unrealized justified checkpoint, we will use a more fresh checkpoint, which is a bit better, considering that a bit because this is like a rare, should be rare event. But the main point is like to not do a redundant call to the fork choice. I know how people feel about it here. Like Nazar, maybe you have an opinion on that as well. Like whether it makes sense to you from the Lodestar standpoint to do this, to move this FCR trigger to the attestation deadline. What do you think?
I think contextually we are already like applying running this trigger after the attestation is applied. So if it is just a change of the naming convention, I think that's also fine, no issue at all.
No, it's like the proposal is to call it after the block in the current slot has arrived and applied to the fork choice.
I think this will be fine from our side. We can do that.
But from your side, from your perspective, calling this fast confirmation rule at the beginning of a slot is fine as well, or not? Or it requires like additional call to the fork choice?
I think it does require additional call to the fork choice, but as of my current understanding, that is not so much performance impact if we have to do it. So if it's the same as the start of the slot, then no problem. Today I'm gonna like deploy this thing to our server to get some metrics out of it from the performance point of view. Then I can clearly tell you how much impact it had on the fork choice.
Okay. Cool. That'd be great.
But if we change it to, then that's also fine for implementation.
Got it. Cool. So for this one, it would be great to get more developers' feedback because one of the main points is to address this redundant fork choice call. One of the main points of this proposal. We will also think on whether it doesn't seem to break anything, as I said before, but yeah, we'll also double check that. All right.
Could also leave this.
hmm?
We could also leave this open to the implementations, right? On when they wish to call it. That's also a possibility.
Yes.
Not to hard specify when, but
yeah, that's possible. Yeah, maybe that'd be the best, the best thing to do. One related stuff. One related stuff to this is that we will probably need to kind of change the test format a bit. We have removed an explicit fast confirmation trigger from the tests because we decided on the previous call that using onTick as a fast confirmation trigger in tests is a good thing to go with. But for this, probably if this change makes sense, yeah, but I don't know. That's debatable. I mean, this one of the is just testing, not an implementation. Actually, okay, we'll see. Yeah, well, I mainly we have been discussing this back with Ethan and Nazar a bit, and Terence as well left some comments on it. But a lot of feedback is coming from Nimbus team. All right, so let's move on to the last point. For this is basically this should be easy thing to do. We have this will checkpoint be justified call, which actually assesses whether the current epoch checkpoint will be justified or not. And for this call, the current spec uses actually the checkpoint state to get balances out of it. But there was a proposal to use a head state instead of the checkpoint state, because head state is always around, and head state is closer to what will be used to assess to actually process justification by the end of the epoch. It will be closer in terms of it will be closer in terms of if there are proposer slashing happens, they will be not taken into account, but it's not super kind of impactful thing here because our assessment is still kind of like an evaluation and estimation of whether this checkpoint will be justified or not. But using head state is fine, and yeah, if head state is always around in client implementations, then probably it makes sense to switch to the head state. So more client devs inputs will be useful here. Right.
Is this for the FFG check?
Yes, exactly. This is for the FFG check only. Okay, these are three things that one of them is the fix is definitely coming to the spec, but the other two are debatable, and yeah, we'll wait for more feedback.
Great. Thanks very much, Mikhail. Julian, you had also noted on the agenda some user feedback. comments that you wanted to highlight?
Yeah. So based on conversations that Will and I had with some exchanges, they seem to call or they seem to get their information on which block is confirmed via their execution layer clients and via engine API. And I was wondering if CLs supports FCR, whether that automatically means that the engine API is updated with them as well, or whether the users would need to like do something more fancy and get information directly from their CL.
Do we know what EL code they use to check for confirmation?
I'm not. No, I guess we're not sure there. Yeah.
I think what happens is when you request information from your EL, you specify whether you want latest block, confirm block. I'm not up to date with the terminology on it, but as part of your request, you specify which one you want when you call the JSON RPC.
Yeah, that is safe block. So I wonder, is that the way they do it?
Yeah, I think so. And Mika also in text mentioned that since FCR will be replacing the safe tag, that it will probably be automatically updated. Is that correct, Mika?
Right. So we have this safe block tag, which is already in place in EL clients. So you can request a safe block via JSON RPC API today. And now this safe block is populated with the most recent justified block. After the fast confirmation rule is implemented, it will be populated with the most recent confirmed block. And this is like the initial way of like the default way of how consumers can request the confirmed block. It does not have any additional messages on why the block is stale or whether what is happening in that regard is just a block, the most recent one. And if in the failure case, in the exceptional case where the confirmed block is reverted to finalized block and starts to rely on finality, it will just be the finalized route without any additional information on that this thing has happened. So that's the default, and we haven't yet discussed much about Beacon API changes, but there are some ideas how to do it, and probably there we could expose more information than on the JSON RPC API.
Thanks. Yeah, those were the two questions I had.
Great, thanks, Julian. Yeah, Mikhail, did you want to circle back to the engine API comment?
Right. Thanks, Will. So if we move the algorithm trigger at some point into a slot, in order for this safe block that I have recently mentioned to be populated with the most recent fast confirm block, an implementation should be aware of when it's calling fork choice updated method in the engine API. This is where basically the safe block is propagated to the EL. So this is one of the things that is related to to the decision of like moving the fast confirmation rule to some other point in a slot. If it's called in the at the start of a slot, obviously the fast obviously what is confirmed at the beginning of a slot will be soon propagated to the EL by default, because CL will call fork choice updated after a block has arrived in this slot or at the attestation deadline. But if we play with this FCR trigger time, then yeah, it may affect this propagation. So be aware of it.
When is for choice update code?
It is called, I don't know, yeah, I'll let CL dev speak up.
I don't get the question.
The question is, at which point the CL executes the API call to the EL, the API for choice update call to the EL.
Oh, well, of my understanding is I guess between the middle of the slot, but this thing is gonna change, I believe, with the EPVS implementation. The fork choice is gonna be refactored a lot with this EPVS implementation.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess
an interesting question.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we execute the confirmation rule before the time that for choice update is called, we are fine in terms of responsiveness of the confirmation rule.
Yeah, I think we're fine.
Great. Were there any testing or research related updates that anyone wanted to cover?
Yes, so we have adjusted the test format as per the feedback and that we have received on the last call that we discussed at the last call. We also merged a bunch of tests in the branch of the PR. Those one that Luca was working on, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Luca, do you want to add anything?
Yes, thank you. Yes, the goal now for the next 2 days is to adjust the tests based on the first PR that Michael presented and potentially add other few tests, like to test like the new parts of the code. And paper-wise, there are no particular updates. We are basically wrapping up the last few things, and we should be there, I suspect, mid-March with the paper, but that's it.
Excellent. Were there any other open discussion topics that anyone would like to table?
I just have one side question not related to the FCR. Uh, the FCR implementation is making a lot of changes related to the fork choice, and in parallel, the EPBS implementation is also changing the fork choice. How other clients are working along with the like keeping alive some both of the development together, and what's the plan for other clients to first get the past confirmation merged first, or EPBS gonna be the first one?
But as far as I'm aware, the first confirmation is not changing the fork choice. Like we are adding some fields to the store, but
Yep.
we are not really changing how the fork choice is executed.
Yep, we are not changing the fork choice behavior, but changing the store and adding more fields. So I was discussing this among my team about how should we proceed, and we decided that okay, let's isolate the changes for the fast confirmation so it does not get too many merge conflicts into the EPBS implementation. So we will gonna be merge the EPBS first, and then we will merge the fast confirmation with some feature flag later on. That's what we plan in the Lodestar. I just wanna get feedback from the other clients how they are planning for it.
I have a related question to that,
Mhm.
Lazar.
Yep.
When do you think you will be ready to merge the PBS part?
So there are quite a few like PRs that a lot of my team members are working on. So we were thinking to go with the earlier changes that are like the changes which are gonna be the fork choice changes with related to the EPBS first, maybe in couple of weeks, not more, because those PRs are in currently like in a detailed review from other team members, including myself. So after the review, we're gonna do some stage deployment to get some metrics, and then we will merge it.
Got it. So it doesn't sound like somewhere far in the future.
No. It's like the whole EPBS will take more time, but we decided, okay, some changes related to the fork choice. If we can, we will get them merged first, and then we continue with the other features. We are trying our best that we should not keep long-running feature branches. In our experience from past, that was not a good practice to keep. So we are trying to get everything to the unstable as early as possible, and then move on the development on the unstable.
Got it. Makes sense. I have a kind of question, kind of temperature check question. After you have already implemented the whole logic, the question is basically if just imagine it's possible to use the weights and run get attestation score or over your fork choice over the checkpoint that the fork choice uses. Considering that we also like count in equivocations and in fast confirmation rule, and fast confirmation rule relies on shuffling. Would using weights of would using like these fork choice as a source of the balance supporting blocks simplify the implementation, and how much it would simplify it?
Considering my implementation, I feel it will simplify a lot. Currently, I am not getting the effective balance calculations from the fork choice I'm getting the state and then computing everything on the state.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if we simplify this part and we reuse like the balance information, effective balance information from the fork choice, then the calculation will be a lot simpler.
got it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other topics?
Not from my side.
All right. Thanks for your time, and I will post a summary of this and a link to the recording shortly. And yeah, we'll just continue to try to get the other client teams up to speed async. I know that there's some people traveling for ETH Denver this week, and yeah, so we just keep at this every other week. I think we'll start to get more attendance from a wider range of clients here soon.
Good.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.